Weigh-in podcast. Today I am flying solo, unfortunately, but I have the WBC super light champion Chantelle Cameron with us today. What's happening, Chantelle?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, good. Cheers. How's training going?
Yeah, really well actually. I'm enjoying it. Ready to go.
Yeah, excellent. So you have quite a big fight coming up. You're going to be making your Vegas debut. What does it mean to be fighting in the home of boxing? How does that feel to be fighting such a big platform?
Sorry, say that again.
How does it feel to be fighting on such a big platform? So you're going to be fighting out in Vegas. How does it feel to be fighting where not many fighters get to go, the home of boxing?
Yeah, it's really exciting because obviously it's everyone's dream, ain't it, to fight in Vegas? Like, what a place to go out and box, and I'm just grateful really that I'm getting the opportunity. I'm looking forward to it because I've never boxed in America before, whole new fan base, and hopefully they're going to like my style.
Definitely. Well, you have got that kind of come forward Mexican style, so you're in the right place for out on the West Coast. I'm sure they're gonna take to it well.
Yeah.
How does it change your preparation, like fighting outside of the UK? This is your first time fighting outside of the UK. How does that change your preparation, or how does that affect things?
It doesn't really, because at the end of the day, you got to do your job on the night, regardless of where you are in the world. So I just look at it as I could fight anywhere, and my preparation doesn't change. It always stays the same. The only difference is I'm getting on a flight, and I've got a long flight ahead of me. But other than that, that's it really. Exactly same procedure, not changing anything, just catching a flight.
I guess that's the attitude of why you're the world champion, Chantelle. I think that's a true fighting mentality. Just catch a flight.
Nothing really phases me. I'm focused on what I've got to do, defend my belt. Could be in someone's back garden for all I care. Just got to make sure that I get the win. So that's about it.
So you're fighting a tough and experienced Puerto Rican fighter called Melissa Hernandez. What do you know about Melissa Hernandez, or what can you expect? What are her strengths? What's she bringing to the table?
To be fair, to be pretty honest, I never even heard of her until I got told she's my mandatory. I didn't even heard of her, and I got tagged in an interview where she was saying that she doesn't rate me, blah blah. So I went on YouTube and thought, let me have a look at her, and exact same. I thought nothing special.
Yeah.
You're a former world champion, nothing taken away from her, but it's a different kettle. It's a different pool of talent now. Like even in a couple of years, the talent is going to be unbelievable. So at the moment, all the new ones are coming through. Like that's from the amateurs, elite amateurs. Now we've turned professional, and it's had the divisions. But I think when Melissa was a world champion, the depth for talent was nowhere near as good as what it is now, and that's going to be the same in 2-3 years. So I'm not taking nothing away from her, but she was good back then. But at the end of the day, I don't think she beats me. I think I've got all the tools to beat her. I've boxed internationally for 8 years.
Yeah.
I've come across all different kind of opponents, and I think I'm just going to be too big, too strong. And I think my work rate alone, as soon as I start working her out in a frustrating style, I think I'll just do the job on her.
Excellent. You sound confident, Chantelle. That's good to hear. But that's again, it's the champion's mentality, I guess. So you picked up your second version of the world title by winning the WBC title last October. How much that means to you? So you're ranked number one in your division. You're ranked number one in Britain. You're the world champion, WBC, which I feel is the most prestigious of all the titles. How does it feel to be number one, and how does that affect the way you enter into fights now?
To be honest with you, it's the same thing. Like, I'm not undisputed world champion, so I don't count myself as number one. I actually don't count myself as number one. I think when you're undisputed, you can count yourself as number one. But at the moment, I've just got part of that puzzle, and I've still got another 3 pieces to go. So I'm not number one. I don't count myself as number one.
Do you think those like high expectations? Are you someone who has those kind of high expectations, and do you think those high expectations that you seem to have in yourself, is that part of why you're so successful now, do you reckon?
I think so, because I'm not complacent. So even with Melissa, I'm not complacent. She's a tricky, experienced opponent, but at the same time, I don't think she's as hungry as me. She's not as fit as me. She's not as strong as me. And like I said, like the experience, like she is experienced, but I'm experienced in kickboxing, Thai boxing, amateurs. So I've actually got more pedigree. Maybe not in the pro division, but if you put it all together, I'm a lot more experienced. But I think that's what makes me like who I am. Is I always want more, and I always want to be better than everyone, and I push myself like big obstacles to get to pass. I set myself big challenges, and just winning the WBC was well enough for me. Like, I want it all.
That's interesting you say that. It brings me on to women's boxing has gained so much credibility in the last like few years, particularly. And like you said, it really is snowballing. You predict that in the next 3 to 5 years, it will be at another level again. How does it feel that like your talent, dedication, professionalism has been a big like key player, a key part of the perception of the women's game and how women's boxing is being perceived? How important is that to you in your career?
Very important, because obviously, like I said earlier, is the generation I'm in now is good, but it's just going to get better. So the younger generation, when they come through, like they'll wipe the floor with the likes of me. That's what I see it. It's just going to get bigger and better. And I think it's just setting the barrier now is of what people can expect, and the fights are going to get better. The talent's going to get better.
Yeah.
And I'm generally more excited for the younger generation to come through.
Yeah, you can tell. So what is it? Women's boxing is that passion for you to grow the sport and to see it become sort of all it can be and kind of achieve its potential as a sport in its own right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for real. So boxing has been quite mad lately. Did you see any of the boxing last night? There was a small boxing match on last night. Billy Joe Saunders against Canelo.
I've seen it, but to be honest with you, I was asleep.
Yeah, I live in Thailand, so I was quite...
I'm not doing them hours.
Yeah.
I'll watch it later though.
Yeah, no, for real. I think that's the best option. What did you think of the fight? What was your sort of breakdown?
I've seen people saying that they think Billy Joe quit. I wouldn't say he quit, didn't they? Why should he fight with an injured eye? Like that, he can fight another day. I think that's what people forget. Saying everyone likes to throw around the word they quit, but they're not in the ring, they're not in the corner, and he's got kids and a family. So why have an injured eye and potentially cause more damage and not see again? Like there's more to life than boxing, and I think that's what people forget. Throwing around quitting. I think people just need to be a bit more careful with throwing that around.
100%, and like I was saying this to one of the guys who does the podcast with me, and he was saying that along with losing now, and obviously losing a championship belt is obviously a big thing, but then you have to deal with the trolls and the this kind of constant accessibility that you have online. How do you deal with the trolls and sort of that aspect of the game, the kind of the constant awareness? Are you good at dealing with that, or is that something that you find challenging?
Yeah, I find it challenging. I could sit here and say that I didn't and lie, but yeah, I do. But then I just got to remember that these trolls, they've got nothing better to do, and they're not in the streets. And to be honest with you, they've probably never boxed a day in their life, so it's all right for them to be sitting there slagging everyone off. But unless they've been there, done it, or they've got, nobody should judge anyone, no matter who you are. Like, who is anyone to judge anyone at the end of the day? Because you're not bigger and better than anybody. Doesn't matter if you're a world champion, you're a multi-millionaire, or you work in 9 till 5 in retail. Like, nobody's bigger and better than everyone. Everyone's got their own demons. Everyone's working to be a better person. So these trolls, I just think they're sad, lonely people, and they've got nothing better to do. So as much as you get angry and like you get upset by their comments, the other way you look at it is you got to feel sorry for them. They're probably at home in their mum's basement or garage, sleeping in a little single bed or a dingy little room, and it's all black and smelly, and all they do is sit and watch boxing all night and got no life, got no friends. So you just got to feel sorry for them, really.
100%. I think the best way is just to sort of abstain from the whole thing, because when you go on there, I'm not a boxer. I have no kind of hate in that regard. But you kind of do go on to sort of read what people are saying about the boxing, and then you just get sucked into it. You just feel down after, like, you watch like an incredible boxing match today. Really, it was a good fight. Billy Joe put on a good performance. Canelo, what a fighter! And you want to go and see what people.
As well, it's like anyone who gets in the ring, you got to give them credit. Doesn't 100%. Matter if they're useless. It doesn't matter if they can't even throw a proper jab. They still got in the ring and gave it a go. So just like people shouldn't slag anyone off. As long as someone's trying and giving it a go, then fair play to them. You should give them a round of applause. I think too many people nowadays are out there pulling people down instead of lifting people up. And everyone does it. Like, everyone does it, but people should just be a bit more aware of what they do and what they say, and also like take people's feelings into account. Like, doesn't matter if they don't know people, they don't know people's past, they don't know what people are going through. People could be having, anyone, not just boxers or sports people, anyone could be having such a shit time in their life, and you get some muppet on social media slagging him off, and I just think like it's uncalled for. I just think it's pathetic.
100% agree with that. So on a more positive note, Canelo, unbelievable fighter. Just watching him last night, he is a real athlete that's at the top of his game and a real incredible fighter. I don't know if you're too familiar with his style, but if you could have any attribute that Canelo has, what would you take off of Canelo?
His movement.
Yep. In terms of his footwork or his lateral body movement, head movement?
Just lateral and head movement, and his reaction.
Yeah, he is, and his counters to the body, particularly last night against Billy Joe. And Billy Joe is not a slow fighter by any means, and so to be able to counter Billy Joe to the body, it was a very impressive thing to see. Good stuff. So we had obviously we had a monster women's fight last week. We had a monster card even. I really enjoyed the card, and we had Katie Taylor defending her titles against Natasha Jonas. Did you manage to catch that fight? What was your thoughts on that fight?
Yeah, I watched that. I think Katie and Tasha had a brilliant fight. I think Tasha really proved that she's world level. Yeah,
and you had sort of some back and forth with Katie Taylor previously.
Hello. What's that?
You had some back and forth with Katie Taylor previously. How do you think a fight was that someone you'd like to fight in the future? And how do you think that fight would go if you two would fight?
The fight would probably never happen, so not even gonna talk about it, to be honest with you. I won my mandatory. I feel like I earned my shot, and I've never had it off on the table. So to be fair, there's nothing really to say. I've made it loud and clear that I want to fight her, and I don't think she wants to fight her. Don't know if it's her or her team, but I'm not in the equation, so there's no point even talking about it.
That is a shame, because as a boxing fan, just sat here, and we were talking about this on last week's podcast. Who, like, after obviously she had the win, who could beat Katie Taylor? And your name was obviously touted as a realistic opponent. Obviously, Clarissa Shields is a bit big, but your name obviously came up as someone who would be a real threat.
Do you want to warm up on the treadmill? Yeah.
Okay, I won't take too much more of your time. Just one last question. So I work with young people outside of doing the podcast, and I know that a lot of young girls, particularly, they struggle with getting into fitness. Their thoughts about getting into fitness and maybe going to a boxing gym or going into any type of sport, they're kind of self-conscious about the way it's perceived or how they would look if they were to do it. What advice would you give to a young person who's considering getting into maybe combat sports or any sports, or what words of encouragement could you offer a young person who maybe doesn't have that confidence to go and do that?
I would advise maybe go with a friend. It doesn't have to be another female friend. Maybe a brother or a male friend, anyone really, but just go with someone maybe so you've got a bit more confidence and a friendly face that you know. Or if you can't find someone to go with you to join in the classes, I think you go and you'll be a bit anxious, a bit frightened till the session starts. And as soon as you get in the mix and start involving yourself with everyone, you'll absolutely love it. It's just breaking a habit. Nobody likes the unexpected, so you have to sometimes just get in there, throw yourself in there, and then after the session you'll probably feel $1 million. But I think just give it a try. You never know if you don't try, do you? So sometimes bite the bullet and join in a session, and you probably love it. And a lot of places now do girls only.
Excellent. Thanks for that, Chantelle. Cheers for the interview.
Sorry, I'm in the gym. I'm teaching clients.
Yeah. No, we can see that. Never stop working, Chantelle. No.
What's that?
You never stop working. Constant.
No, never. I'm always on the move.
Right. Good luck for the fight, Chantelle, and I hope it goes well.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye bye.